Yesterday, a single mother and her 5-year-old son, whom my wife Meg had found on the Petaluma Freebies Facebook page, came over to our house, and together we disassembled the trampoline in the backyard and hauled it out piece by piece and put it on her truck so she could take it away to her home. And it wasn't without a pang that we did this, with memories of play dates and birthday parties and blankets being hauled out of the linen closet and taken to the backyard and draped over the poles that hold up the netting, the safety netting on the trampoline, and nights spent in sleeping bags in that shelter. And it was one more step, one significant symbolic step in a work that will be going on all summer at my house as we prepare to send our only child off to university in the fall. A work of laying childhood to rest and opening the door to the future. The night before Jesus' Passion, after supper, after he has knelt at the feet of his disciples and washed them, he speaks to them for a long time, preparing them for the future, preparing them for his departure, preparing them to lay to rest their time of discipleship with him, and for the future in which he will be in them, in which he will send them as he was sent in his great mission of love, not to condemn the world, but to save it. He speaks to them of his Father's house, not the Father's house from which he drove out the money changers and the sacrificial animals, declaring that you have made my Father's house a marketplace. But another house, one in which there are many dwelling places, to which he goes to prepare just such a place for them. He speaks to them of a vine, the vine that I am, of which you are the branches. He speaks to them of the world's hatred, the hatred that is coming upon him and will come upon them also, because the world does not know the one who sent him. And he speaks of a woman in labor, bringing forth through suffering a child of joy. a new human being, the most wondrous of all God's creations. And finally, he prays for them. And as we hear this morning, he prays that they may be one, as he and the Father are one. He prays out of his great longing and desire for them, that they may know the fullness of that unity with one another, that unity within themselves, that unity with him and with God in the spirit of love, that will make it possible for them to overcome the world as he has. That will make it possible for them to go to the world in his peace. That will make it possible for them to forgive as he forgives. And he prays that they may follow in his steps and be with him where he is. To be with him where he is, close to the heart of God. So close that there is no separation any longer. No sin, no partiality, nothing held back, nothing hidden away, nothing left forgotten, unredeemed, unforgiven, unhealed. All brought into the heart of God's all-embracing compassion to be born anew from the inexhaustible spring of life and light. That is Christ's desire for us. That is his prayer for us. That he prays even now, in this moment, from that place where he longs for us to join him. From that place where there is no shadow of fear, no darkness of the tomb, but only life and light everlasting. Following Jesus so often feels like carrying the cross, feels like shouldering the burden of responsibility for a world broken into a million pieces, a world at war with itself, where violence can erupt without warning in any place, where human beings are set against each other in desperation, acting in senseless fury because they are so helpless to overcome their loneliness, their isolation, their disconnection from their own life, from its source in God, from its mirror in each other. The glory for which we were created, the love which God has given us from before the foundation of the world. And yet today we hear that the cross is but a portal, but a veil to be passed through, to be torn apart from top to bottom by the inexhaustible grace and love of God. That burden of walking through this world in love as an agent of peace and forgiveness, speaking the word of life in the land of death, is a light burden, because it is not ours to carry alone. It is given to us in love, in hope of our glory, the glory we share with all creation. It comes to us from above, from within, from beyond what our limited minds can fathom. From that place where indeed we are one. Ever one with Jesus, with God, with one another, with our enemies, with those who hate us, as well as those who love us. We have nothing, brothers and sisters, to fear.